Boa tarde, cá estamos com o Gaspar Noé. O propósito é a estreia do Enter the Void, que é dia 15 de março. Finalmente o filme chega a Portugal, ganhou uma aura de filme maldito, de bom filme maldito. E eu, antes de passar a palavra a vocês, que devem ter algumas palavras para o Gaspar, I would just like to introduce the conversation. Just telling you a small story. I was at Cannes Film Festival when the Irreversible was shown there. I saw the press screening, and it was really interesting because, you know, Cannes Film Festival veterans from the press, they are used to see films, and it was at 10 o'clock in the evening, the screening, and it was packed. It was in a small salle Bazin. It's a small screening in Cannes. It was really packed, and at least 20 minutes before after the film started, people were really, you could felt you know, there was some kind of tension, and then the famous rape scene with Monica Bellucci, a lot of people booing and a lot of people clapping, and some people, of course, leaving the theater. So it was really something. But in 2009, when the film was in Cannes, I saw in a bigger screening, and it was something. Also, a big tension in the audience, but with a raise in the middle of the film. I don't know if you know that. This one, Enter the Void, and people clapping and really enjoying the film, which was like a rock and roll concert. People, you know, feeling the music and in some sequences shouting, and I thought there was some. You managed to create some kind of a different way to see a film. So before we start talking with the audience, I'd just like to, if you could introduce the film again now, 3 years later.
First of all, I apologize for being late, but I missed my plane this morning. It happened, so then we had to do all the interviews in a very compressed way when it happens. Showing the movies in Cannes is the best place you can dream of, because it's like going to the football World Cup. People get excited, they scream during during the screenings in competition, and it's big fun. I remember when we were showing Irreversible, someone was screaming, "We're gonna fuck you the same, Gaspar," during the rape scene, and then you only see that in football games, but usually never in a normal theater. Movies are made to move people. And once I read an article saying that my movies were like roller coasters. I would say, yeah, they're roller coasters for grown-up people. There's no teaching in the movies. There's no message to deliver. It's mostly like it's hardcore entertainment, I guess.
Some people say you're the most dangerous filmmaker alive. Do you like this? The notion of a filmmaker can create danger in a good way.
I'm not. Who's dangerous? No. Some Hollywood movies are dangerous.
Which ones?
The ones that make you believe the American army is good.
Eu acho que temos pouco tempo. Vamos.
I was afraid also with this movie that people would think that I was a Buddhist and I was promoting the concept of reincarnation.
Which is.
But that's why I made it clear in all my interviews that I would not promote any religion.
But do you believe in reincarnation? No, of course not. A ideia é o pessoal pôr o dedo no ar e fazermos questões. Há um
But it's
microfone.
weird, sometimes I met people who were Buddhists and said, yeah, you don't know, but you are religious. You believe in reincarnation. I say, no, I don't. Yes, you do, because when people are convinced of something, they even try to convince you that you are convinced of it.
Se houver perguntas. So I'm asking them to pose a question, but meanwhile, let me do one that I'm really curious. This film that we're going to see in Portugal. It's another version, so you cut it a little bit. What happened?
There are two versions of this movie. Actually, it's the same movie, but I had signed a contract saying that for some countries I should deliver a movie of less than 2 hours and 30 minutes, if needed. And when I finished my editing, it was 2 hours and 34 minutes. And so instead of having two different editings and two different sound mixes, because that was my full-length version, and the other one that I had to deliver had to be like around 2:15, 2:20. I rearranged the reels, you know, because now here it's going to be the movie is going to be released on DCP. It's a digital hard disk, but when it came out in France, it was shown on 35mm prints, and so I found that if I would recut the reels in a particular way, we could pull out the reel number 7 out of 9, and the movie would be like 17 minutes shorter, and it still works very well. And that's the version that is released here. And in some countries, they release like the 2 hour, 17 minutes version. And then 2 weeks later, they would re-release the director's cut. That's what they did in the States or in England. Or in one theater, they would show the 2 hours and 34 minutes version. And in another theater, the 2 hours and 17 minutes version. I like them both, but I guess when it comes out on DVD, they will put the long version. Or in some countries, you can switch and decide whether you want to see the short version or the long version. The only difference is there are 17 minutes more towards the end of the movie in one particular piece.
But the controversial scenes will be there.
Yeah, actually, there's nothing controversial in all the sex scenes, drug scenes, or shocking scenes are in the other 8 reels. But, no, the difference is at a point, the guy dreams he's coming out from his body and floating above his sister and his friends. And in the reel that you might not see here, he wakes up in the morgue and he thinks he came back to life. And so he's walking there and he's a kind of zombie. He cannot talk to the people and they scream on him, and then he goes back to his dream. But it's that reel is looks a little bit like the end of Mulholland Drive. No.
Any question?
But yeah, I like the 2 versions. I recognize them both.
Do you feel that Enter the Void is a film with a different style comparing to the other films that you did?
Actually, I was thinking of this movie for many years, and when I shot Irreversible, I had this other movie in mind. So there are many things that I tried on Irreversible that were conceived for this one. Now the camera flying at the beginning of Irreversible shot is a master shot done with a techno crane. That's the best crane you can think of to make the camera, to put the camera above people. And also the idea of shooting each scene as a master shot came from this project. So yeah, I would say the Irreversible and this one could be shown together, and Soul Control 2 is my first feature, and my previous medium-length short called Carne are another side. I don't know what my next movie is going to look like, but I'll try to make it look different from my previous movies. No, it's like you have to reinvent your language and play a new game each time. Lars von Trier is good for that. Like each time he does a movie, he kind of recreates his own language. I'll try to do the same as much.
So what's going to be next?
Supposedly, it's a very sentimental, erotic film. It's a love story. Yeah. People fall in love, have sex, and and cry and scream and have sex. And
More intimate?
yeah, very sentimental. Yeah. In porn movies, you never see people crying. In real life, you do.
Gaspar, there's some people say that you open kind of a new way of doing shock films, and then Romain Graves also did a film that caused some controversy in France. Do you think you kind of create a new way of freedom for filmmakers, especially in France?
In France, there are a lot of directors who are not French also, who come there, who live in Paris because...
Like you?
Yeah, but I was raised in France, but Polanski, etc., etc. There are many, like also Haneke is doing movies with French money. when it comes to sex, the French TV or the French institutions are more open-minded than the similar institutions or TV channels in England or in Germany. So yeah, there are things that can be shot in France that are harder to shoot in other countries. Yeah. Yeah, for example, the Americans don't have any kind of problem with violence on screen, but they have problems when it comes to nudity in a mainstream movie. In France, there is no problem with nudity.
You told that your new movie is going to be a love story, but do you actually believe in the love stories? And what are your favorite themes that you like to work on?
People told me other movies are about the fear of pregnancy. Like every time there's a pregnant woman in my movies, something bad happens to her. I don't know, maybe it's going to be about the fear of pregnancy again. Well, no, usually it's good to have a project that you haven't seen before on screen. If you're copying something you like, it might look as good as the thing you're copying, but if you invent something new or you recreate something out of different elements that you haven't seen put together before, yeah, it's more rewarding for you and for the people who are watching it. That's why I like Lars von Trier. That you cannot compare his movies to anything you've seen before. Or Raoul Ruiz was very inventive. I saw his last movie, The Mysteries of Lisbon, and it's his best movie ever, and I really loved it. But it doesn't. You cannot think of any other movie that looks like that one.
So the next film will be completely different in terms of
Yeah, I still don't know how I'm gonna shoot it, but I'm watching movies and considering, well, where should I put the camera in a way that you don't relate to other movies that have been done before. No, in dreams there is a language for dreams that has its own gimmicks, or that is like that is very universal. But when you see movies, they're shot in a very scholar way. Most movies look like TV movies, you know. When people talk, there's a close-up of the person talking, then it goes to the other one, and it's kind of boring. That's why I like shooting master shots or just finding positions to the camera that are unusual, because there are so many things to do with the language of cinema. But yeah. I guess the next movie is gonna be almost silent. I think I'll try, like in dreams, to make things go through the image and not through words. No, in dreams, there are 1 or 2 or 3 sentences, but mostly things are said visually.
Meanwhile, another question. Do you like to provoke, as an artist, for you, the provocation is something that you like?
If people walk out from the theater because they're scared by what's going on the screen, you feel powerful. It's just like a good magician who cuts a woman into pieces and people faint. The magician feels powerful. I saw people fainting during Irreversible or at the end of Sol Contra Tus. And I felt very pleased. Exactly.
This one, when people feel like, oh, this is too strong with the sex scenes.
No, people, in the case of this one, some people dislike it because they said it gives you like a headache, you feel you're tripping out, and some people are control freaks and don't like tripping out. Yeah, it's weird. Mostly people who experienced hallucinogenic drugs like the movie, and people who are afraid of hallucinogenic drugs escape from the movie.
Terry Gilliam once said when he did Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, he never even a joint he tried. So what is for you? You tried hallucinogenics?
I tried. I did my research. But I even went to the Amazonian jungle with my friend Jan Kunen. And we spent, who was also preparing a hallucinogenic Western called Blueberry. And so we did a lot of ayahuasca with the shaman in the jungle, blah, blah, blah. And And so sometimes you're in the middle of the jungle and you feel you're in a flying saucer with Martians, and I would see those kind of lights all the time. Yeah, it's scary, but yeah, I had to do some research for the movie.
For you, the effects of drugs can be also translated in terms of 3D. For now, that 3D dimensions.
Yeah.
You think it's also a good way to depict, hallucinogenic kind of dreams?
Yeah, hopefully I work with the best company in France for visual effects. Most of the guys were the graphic designers. Were not drug users at all. So I had to pick up references from experimental movies, sometimes commercials, sometimes paintings, or the images of like those forms of life that are underwater, and say, well, can you create a monster or like form that looks like this, but with this kind of color? So I was working a lot with those guys to tell them things that would look like a DMT trip. The worst thing is that after finishing the movie, I was proposed to smoke DMT in some country, and and it was so much more complex than what I had made in my movie. That what you see on screen is like it's like the Walt Disney version compared to the reality. No, it's really scary. DMT can be very, very scary.
I've read in the internet some kids are seeing this film with some hallucinogenics and stuff. Is that what you were afraid that you can say I did a druggy film or something that because it's a film cool to watch it stoned and stuff?
No, I don't think the movie needs to.
Yeah,
you don't need to be stoned because it's supposed to reproduce the some kind of feeling that you have when you're stoned. But I remember one thing that in the movie, each time he gets close to the balcony, he don't get close to the balcony, get close to the balcony. That's the thing that they say about LSD, that you feel like jumping. So for people who already done LSD, they understand why he tells himself, don't get close to the balcony, don't get close to the balcony. You lose the fear of death and you're attracted by the voids. Right. Right.
Questões? I like the alarm sound.
Hello, I've seen a few of your movies, Sol Encontro, Irreversible, and this one. And you show the best and worst of humanity.
Yeah.
Is that your true objective? Is one of your objectives to show what we really are? And our best, worst?
I think when you dream at night, your dreams are made of your fears and desires, things mostly. I guess in my movies I put the things I'm the most scared of and the things I desire the most. And also each time I do a movie I try to make it as it was an ultimate movie, not just another movie in between. So you put all the things that really link you to the life you're going through. Well, one question, Sol Encontro 2, was it released here in Portugal?
No, never.
Never.
Was in
No, because I was talking with the journalist who told me that he had seen it, but it was
in the film festival in
maybe
Fantasport.
Hi, Gaspar. Hi. Olá, Tendinha. Gaspar, for your next movie, do you already know any actor or actress that you want to work with? Can you,
I guess for the love story, no, I don't know. It's going to be young. The characters are between 20 and 25, and I don't know if I'm going to work with actors or with non-professional people. No, in my movie, besides Paz, there who was an actress already when we shot, and the red hair boy called Victor in the movie. Those two were actors, but all the rest were non-professionals. I really enjoy working with people who had never been in front of a camera. So some are good, some are bad. You just test them. But because there's a lot of nudity in the next movie, I will certainly have to find a couple or an ex-couple who can behave like people behave when they have a normal sexual intercourse.
You should think Portuguese actors.
What?
You should think about Portuguese actors.
Yeah, why not?
Yes, you should.
Mais perguntas?
The strip bars that you show on Enter the Void were real bars, because I saw on VBS a guy that was traveling around Japan searching for you.
Yeah,
and-
that's on Vice channel.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah. There is one bar that exists with a lot of neon lights. You've seen the movie?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay, because at a point the brother and the sister, they get into a bar with neon lights everywhere, and that's where the documentary was shot. It's a real bar for all women who want to meet young male host, and they pay a lot of money. They go with our Chihuahua, and you have like 1, 2, 3 guys giving sake to this old woman, and it's weird. Yeah, and these rich women spend all their money just
Yes,
to go to
because
that bar and
in
being like
the-
seduced by these young guys.
Because in that documentary on VBS, you traveled around the place where you shot. I don't know the
So
name.
the opening scenes of the movie are shot in a neighborhood called Shinjuku. That is like the red district of Tokyo. There are two red districts, one for foreigners. That is kind of very sleazy. You have a like kind of Brazilian mafia, an Iranian mafia, an African mafia, an Israeli mafia. I don't know, but yeah, and many foreigners. And I really didn't want to shoot in that neighborhood. And then you have the red district for Japanese people, which is called Kabukicho, and which is inside Shinjuku. You have a lot of street bars. You have a lot of clubs that mostly don't let any foreign people get in. No, it's just for Japanese people, and even if you get to there is a section, you try to get into the section, they go like that and say Japanese only, Japanese only. And that neighborhood is run by the local Yakuzas, and you have to pay them to shoot in their neighborhood, and you have to be very careful, because if you go over time 1 minute, so yeah, we had to negotiate it in advance, but but it's by far the best location that I could have found for the movie.